So I've done a lot of steak videos, right, CJ?
You've
done quite a few. It's because steak is awesome. I'm a huge fan of beef, Shia, and
All
the beef.
things.
Oh, you know what I'm saying. So today I want to show you, Ethan, you want to take a peek real quick? Take a gander at this velvety. It's velvet, it's beautiful. I'm going to show you guys a peppercorn sauce on a gorgeous ribeye, and I found some amazing mushrooms at the market today. So I want to show you guys how to take your steak game one level up with sauce game. Cool?
Sauce it.
Let me show you how I like to do it. The sauce is going to take the longest, so I'm going to start with my shallots. I'm going to mince these up nice. If you've never used shallots before, they're usually found where the whole garlic is. It's not quite an onion. It's not quite garlic. It's like, it's more garlicky than an onion and not as garlicky as garlic.
It's a shallot.
It's a shallot. Mince this up nice and tiny. Now I do have a pan on my griddle top. A lot of people ask if you can put pans. Of course you can. A bit of oil and add those shallots. Let those start cruising just a little bit. Now I do actually have some garlic as well. A lot of recipes you see for peppercorn sauce, they mince it up. I like thin, little, like really thin shaves of garlic. I just like the way it feels at the end. Let the shallots cook for about 3 minutes, then add your garlic to that as well. Now, if you want to, I like to add herbs here, but I don't like picking all the stems off of thyme, so just add the whole stem in there and just give it a quick little stir. Now let that cruise. Now it's time to get to our peppercorns. Now today I have a medley, a lovely medley. I've got some pink peppercorns, white peppercorns, green peppercorns, and black peppercorns. Let those start to toast up a little bit with the shallots, the herbs, and the garlic. Not long, maybe 2 minutes or so. Remember, you can stir this often just to make sure we don't get a ton of caramelization. Now we get to the fun part. We are going to flame some brandy. Add a splash of brandy. You don't have to flame it. It'll reduce on its own, but the flame is just fun. And we're outside, so why not be a bit flashy? Let that flame off and reduce by about half before adding our beef stock. Now we're gonna add like 3 times the amount of beef stock as we did brandy. Now this is the base of flavor for our sauce, but it's gonna reduce. Add a bit of horseradish once our sauce is nicely reduced, and then we get to our heavy cream. The heavy cream is gonna add just an unbelievable richness to the dish. It's gonna mellow out some of those flavors. It's almost like a buttery characteristic. It becomes really, really decadent. Like this is where the sauce goes from liquidy sauce to creamy sauce. Let that cruise while we get to our steak. I've got a big, beautiful ribeye. Now this is definitely a ribeye for 2. I'm a big fan of taking a larger cut for 2, cooking it whole, and then slicing it later. But no matter what, even if it's a thinner cut, I do like to scruff. We're just basically making thin little scores across the surface of the meat. We're not cutting into it too deep. We're just exposing a little bit more surface area to get a crusty, crunchy crust. Crusty crunch.
Who's scruffy looking?
You're scruffy looking.
Okay.
I'm going 2-stage seasoning here. I'm gonna start with my Blackstone Blackened and kind of go heavy here. It might seem like a lot, but this is a very, very thick steak. Then we're going in with our Tuscan herb. Make sure to get it on all sides. If you want, you can kind of push it into those little grooves and notches that we created when we did the scruffing. And don't forget to scruff the fat side and get some of that seasoning. Get every single inch covered. That's what we're looking for. Now a bit of olive oil, super high heat, and let that baby cruise. Now we're gonna have a decent amount of time to get that gorgeous crust on the steak because it's so thick. With a thinner cut, you end up overcooking way too fast and getting gray meat. And I'm kind of in like a medium rare mood. While our steak is cooking, let's get to our salad. I've got some red onion that I again want to shave nice and thin, really thin slices. No one likes biting into a huge hunk of red onion, really any onion. You don't like take a bite at it. It's not an apple. Throw it in a bowl and add some oil. We're gonna add lemon juice. We're gonna add salt and pepper. And we're also gonna add a bit of thyme. Again, I just leave the whole stem on there. We're gonna remove it later anyway, but it does help to stir things around. Just, you don't have to pull the stems off, but you still get the flavor. Now I've got 2 different greens today. They're both what would be called bitter greens. But they're full of flavor and they're gonna compete with the steak really, really nice. I've got watercress and baby arugula, both kind of peppery, heavier greens. It's not iceberg lettuce. It's gonna make for a much nicer salad. Give that a toss and that's it. Salt and pepper, lemon juice, oil. It's a very, very simple salad. We don't wanna compete too much with our sauce, but we do want a nice refreshing salad. With a thicker cut like this, you're gonna have a lot of fat sides, so we can get a decent sear on both sides, like the sides that don't touch the griddle. Just lean it up on your pan if you want to. Once your steak is right about where you want it, pull it off to the cooler side. We'll let it keep coming up to temp a little bit. And all that beautiful fat, the seasoning left over, all of that gorgeousness, we're throwing our mushrooms in. I've got some maitakes, some king oysters, and some pearl oyster mushrooms. Now you could use any mushroom that you like, or unless you're CJ, don't use any mushrooms.
Nope.
If you want to, you can put the dome over top. They're a bit thicker than just like your standard mushroom that you get at the store. Let those cook for just a little bit. Once our steak has rested, with a steak this big, you do want about 5 minutes, so maybe pull that off as the mushrooms go down. I'm gonna slice it on the bias. Everything's done. Now it's just time to plate. So arrange your steak on your plate nicely. Let's go in with some of those mushrooms on the plate. You can see those little nibs of goodness, CJ.
Nah, dude.
Steak nibs on mushrooms, come on, get out of here. And then some of that gorgeous salad, and now the coup de grace, the moment I've all been waiting for, the gorgeous sauce, right over the top. It's one of those things where you've probably made a bunch of steaks and you love the way it's turned out, but you want to go one step further. A sexy sauce changes everything, absolutely everything. Let's take a bite of this thing. And you'll notice too, the peppercorns, like they really do start to soften up. I just like the appearance of the different, the white, the green, the pink.
It's beautiful, bro. I'm a fan of how this is looking. Keep it going.
Slight little crunch on the peppercorns. Unbelievable. I gotta eat these mushrooms. I love these oysters.
Mushrooms. Dude, those do look interesting.
What? Really cool.
Interesting.
I can't take the whole bite though. I mean, I could, but I don't want to. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like really fun little mushrooms. When we worked with Norman, he had those giant king oyster mushrooms, or trumpets. Yeah. And you slice them down and score. I'm doing that. Mushroom heaven. Last little bit. The little bit of acidity from the lemon and the onion and the watercress.
Dude, I'm a fan of like the simplicity of the salad. Like,
It's very simple, right?
Yeah.
It's gonna cut. Balancing your flavors, this fat, rich steak, that rich sauce, the acidity and that little freshness in the salad cuts everything. It's heavenly. Well, thank you guys so much for hanging out. Be sure to leave a comment down below if you guys like to see more recipes like this or anything else you would like to see. If you haven't, go check out all the Griddle crew members. There's so many of you out there making killer stuff. That's it. That's all I got. Watch all the other shows. Subscribe if you haven't. This is Cook, Eat, Repeat, where we like to help you become a better cook one recipe at a time. I'm your host, Chef Nathan Lippy, and I'll see you all in the next episode. Oh, yeah. Oh.